Hello and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian if you're new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for coming. And also, you're amazing. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of my videos, but only for subscribers. But beyond that, today's video is about helping you build the class that you've always wanted to play in New World. And I decided to have some fun with my build guides. And as an avid Final Fantasy player, I themed my builds off of the jobs of Final Fantasy. Today's video is going to be focusing in on the Paladin. This is going to combine both the sword and shield and the life staff to give you that magical healing ability, but also that pure tank role that, you know what, honestly, I really like strive for. Now, there's a couple of things that you can actually do differently in your own Paladin builds, and I'd love to see them. So be sure to let me know in the comments below what changes you've made from this guide. But overall, this is about getting some good ideas. I'm going to show you guys what I've chosen to do, and you can always take it and make it your own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into my Paladin here. You can see here I'm rocking the sword and shield and life staff. Let's actually start today with kind of our inventory, showing the different gear that I currently have equipped. I'm using a sword. In this case, I'm also using a Carnelian gem that's going to help generate more threat per hit. And then I also have the life staff, and this is using Opportunist 4 as a 20% damage against targets with less than 30% health. Overall, I'm not actually using my life staff as much during combat, and you'll see that when we get to the skills section itself. On the left-hand side, I'm still actually focusing in on strength. However, if you wanted to change up your gear and more, you'd probably want to look for something like a pristine amber. This is going to allow you to have the gear. So I slotted the pristine amber into my sword. It would basically say whatever is my highest stat, strength or focus, and the life staff is primarily built off of focus. But my gear here is spec'd for strength, so I went ahead and chose that as well. So you can see that here on screen. Anything strength and constitution that I can have, or strength and focus. Those are the three different stats that I'm going off of in the order of strength, constitution, and then focus. Down here at the bottom, I just have nice big strength boosters. And so you can see that when we get actually into the gear itself, strength rocking right now at 258. You can see here I'm getting the different points from 44 of my committed points, 154 from committed, and item buffs up to 60. Constitution is listed right here at 156 of my committed and 16 from my equipment, and then a little bit from my focus. This is obviously coming mostly from gear and my default 5 points. You can see here this pushes me over 10,000 hit points, but also allows me to continue to put out a little damage. Ultimately, I'm usually looking for hitting any of these different tiers because they unlock new features for me from a gathering perspective. However, that can be completely redone. You could, of course, respec, do a focus build, put your points into focus, and that way you could actually have kind of that benefit from your sword benefiting off of the focus of the staff, but you wouldn't necessarily have the look and feel of the Paladin being in that plate armor. So the choice is up to you. If you do decide to do that, I would recommend focusing in on your equipment first. As you can see here from the stats alone, you're going to have your stats fill up before you even have to put in your points, which at level 60, you get 190 points. So I would do that. That way you can have and maximize your stats out the best way possible. So let's go ahead and dive into my skills for weapon mastery. And let's go ahead and focus in on the life staff first. This is the theming of the Paladin. And this is the choices I made, being that I wanted something very easy to heal. I wasn't thinking the Paladin would be taking time away from the front lines to stop and heal somebody. So I wanted to be able to switch over to the life staff, use my skills, be able to stand in a lot of healing wells, and then continue on from there. So for skills perspective, you can see here I'm taking a little bit from the healing tree and a little bit from the protector tree. So on the protector side, since it's got the least amount of skills that I'm using, defensive light, I'm using this to help push me down into beacon. But defensive light, when you block with the melee attack, you're going to gain 5% of your mana. From a traits perspective, protector strength, if you have a buff on yourself, heal for 10% more. And then you have increases mana regeneration for you and your group members by 3% for Spirits United. Those are the traits. And then for beacon, this is shoots out a lighted projectile that deals 146 weapon damage to enemies, reaches its target, and heals all nearby allies for 20%. And the weapon damage for 10 seconds, and it's going to cost you 16 mana. Beacon's area of effect is now 50% larger. Then you also have Beacon lasts for 5 seconds longer. And finally, Speed of Light. When Beacon heals a target, it also applies a 20% haste, which increases your movement speed. Now here on the left-hand tree, I've got Absolved, Life Staffs, Light and Heavy attacks no longer take mana. And then down here, I've got Blissful Touch, Light attacks now heal the target for 20% of the damage when passing through an ally. I thought if I did need to hit somebody, wanted to be able to preserve some mana, I went ahead and chose that pathway over Life Staff. Heavy attacks now removes 1 debuff. I decided not to take this because I'm going to primarily doing my attacking with the Sword and Shield, aka the strength that I've set. From a skills perspective over here, I take Sacred Ground, creates an area around that lasts you around the player area that lasts for 15 seconds and heals 20% weapon damage every second. Then that it gets increased to regenerate stamina and mana faster while in Sacred Ground. And finally, when allies are in Sacred Ground, they are healed 50% more from all healing. Then I've got you and all group members within 100 meters are healed by 50%. I'm wondering if that 100 meters that's quite a large range. Anyway, if you heal your target below 50%, gain 3% of your maximum mana back. And the last upgrade, Splash of Light, also removes 1 debuff. That's essentially nullifying this. Obviously, this focusing on the ally, and this not necessarily so much. Then over here in the end, I already covered that perk. The ultimate, Divine Blessing. When you heal an ally, if their health is below 50%, you're going to heal for 30% more. To kind of show you these skills in action, I switch over to my Life Staff. I can go ahead and book Q, and that puts on that little barrier that I just tossed out. I can go ahead and stand in it, and it's going to heal me with Healing Pulse in that regards. So that's a really good targeted area that you can put down. Typically, I like to set it down on the ground, but I accidentally misclicked that. If I hit E in this case, now I am in Sacred Ground, and you can see here with these two, I can do a lot of combat. I can easily switch back, and those healing spells stay active. So I can continue to do damage, and I can continue to fight along those lines. And then finally, if I use my R skill, that's coming from me and then going out to everybody within the area around me. So that is essentially something I'm not having to worry about targeting too much. I'm not the active or the main healer in the group. I'm a paladin. I'm there to be a tank, to be able to take the damage, but also to be able to heal and provide a little bit of support and utility. Let's switch over to my Sword and Shield. Let's show you guys what I have selected here. Okay, so Swordmaster and Defender, a few things that you can kind of play around with. Again, there's no wrong choice if you decide to take different skills. This is just the build that I've decided to play around with for this specific theme of a job. So on the Defender side, I take Shield Rush, rush forward 5 meters, knocking back foes and dealing 125% weapon damage. Then I take Sturdy Shield, grants additional 15% physical armor. Then I also take stamina damage is reduced by 15% when blocking a melee attack with the shield. And finally, reduce damage from all magical types by 10%. Then over here, I take Whirling Blade. This is going to deal 145% weapon damage to 2 foes within 2 meters. Then I increase that. Whirling Blade causes 5% Ren for 10 seconds, and that's going to reduce their target's armor. And then finally, Whirling Blade reduces cooldowns on the ability by 10% for each enemy hit, thus helping it to come back sooner. Reverse Stab is kind of my powerhouse move, a stab that deals 175% weapon damage. Reverse Stab now has Grip, making the attack unstoppable. And finally, on a successful hit with Reverse Stab, all sword cooldowns are reduced by 25%. And then my ultimate, being Leadership, while holding the sword, any group member's damage is increased by 10%. I take a lot more perks over here on the left-hand side. Sword critical strikes chance has been increased by 10%, move 33% faster while blocking, deal 10% more damage towards slowed foes, and then while health is full, deal 15% more damage. Over here, successful hitting with a heavy attack causes you to lose all debuffs. The successful heavy attack grants you 30% in power for 5 seconds, increasing my damage. And the final attack in your light attack chain causes a 20% slow for 2 seconds, reducing their movement speed. And then the final perk here on critical, gain 20% haste for 5 seconds, and haste is going to then, of course, continue to increase my movement speed. So that is essentially the build. That is the gear that I am rocking and rolling right now. You got to let me know what you think, as well as what changes would you make to the job itself. At the end of the day, I am really enjoying trying to bring a little bit of Final Fantasy into the world of New World. And, you know, honestly, it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos, and hopefully I can see you in my next one. If this is the video that gets you to subscribe, please let me know in the comments below so I can welcome you officially to the channel. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic one. And I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care.
With the clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh, yeah. A little off topic, but I just want to say thank you for providing me a friendly, fun, and optimistic community. Baby.